Figured I would say something, passing the time. If you come on over here, we could be on the same side.
Okay, let's get into the cut. We're just going to fade this out. So I'm going to do, it's like doing two haircuts. Haircut one, haircut two. That way you don't connect them up. You know, a lot of, it's hard to sort of disconnect things, but I think visually I want to make it a visual connection. All right, so I'm going to go in with the clipper. I'm just going to, it's a number 2 clipper. So I'm just going in and just taking all of that hair off, and that'll just give me a base. And then I'm going to fade it out from there. Once I've done my number 2, I'm going to put a number 1 on. So it just gets it a little bit tighter. I like to work the longer to the shorter and then flick it out with the 0 rather than going in short first. So what I want to do is anchor the clipper to the scalp or to the skin. And what I'm going to do is anchor, I'm going to pivot it out, and then I'm going to lift it out. So it's in an arced motion. That just gives me a nice seamless line. I don't want to see a start or a finish. I just want it to travel to that point. Nothing in between. See the color looking fantastic there. Beautiful, clean result. It's coming off that front hairline too, just beveling that edge off so we don't have a really thick bit there. I like to clean it that way and this way. Okay, so we're going to go down to the 0 blade now, and I like to use quite a large comb and just make sure that I've got nothing missed on that transition area. So the comb becomes my guard then. And I just run over the top of that and just blend it out. This gives me greater control. I'm still got this sort of motion going on, this arcing motion. I don't want to be in flat or in that way with the head shape. I'm going anti-head shape with this, so that builds up this beautiful bit of graduation. Then with my clipper on close, so it's not an open, it's a close, I'm just going to go around that hairline. Just gently take off those hairs that grow a little bit backwards there. Take them off. And then on the back hairline, if you want to come around there, the hair grows this way. I'm going to push it back the opposite way and take it as short as my comb will let me take it. And what I want to do is get a bit of a line in there and just leave this peak in here. Even though it's fair, it just adds that little bit of detail to the hair, which I love, and I'm sure Carly loves those little details. Okay, just before I cut the top, I'm going to put some volumizing spritz in, and what that is going to do is help me, assist me in blow drying eventually, but I'm using it as a bit of a cutting tool as well. So it's heat activated. It works best at 80 degrees and over, so for hot styling it's absolutely perfect for, and it's just going to give us that little bit of finish. It's got a medium hold, so it's not going to stress out cutting the hair and not going to get tangled up. I'm going to spray a little bit of that in first. Okay, so with the top, what I want to do is just lean the shape out. I find if with an undercut, and it's going up or down, I want to get some shape through here. So it's like a connection point. So I want to build a shape that will visually connect this to that. I know it doesn't connect, but if I just leave it like a skater's undercut in the 90s, that's what it'll be. Kid shaving his hair off and letting the top go down. I want this to be more sophisticated than that. So I'm building graduation through here. It's ever so slight, and I cut it point cutting, I break it up, but I'm really structured with this. I go through like this with my hands, and then I connect this point up. So it's first section, second section, third section. It's as easy as that. It's like a dot to dot. It's like a 3-step process. That's section 1. This will be the second section, and the third section is the mohawk section through the top, and these two connect up like this, and then the shorter piece underneath. So the haircut's 1, 2, and 3. It's quite easy, but you've got to get those elements exactly right. So we'll get into these side pieces, this second area first. So what I want to do is take small, manageable sections, bringing them out. I'm just going to point cut them in at about a 45-degree angle. So it's working with graduation. I come back onto that previously cut section. And I just point that away. So the discipline is my hand position, not so much my cutting. My cutting, it's got to be right. The point cutting's got to be consistent, but it's really broken line. I want this to be broken up and textured. Stay with that hand position at all times. And that's my discipline. You know, it looks like it's all free and easy, but there's a really strong discipline element to this haircut. So same again through here as we were through the sides. We're getting this shape, and I'm just going to finish that off here by coming out here and connecting the sides to the back. Same sort of thing. I'm going to break it up, and I'll probably slide a little bit of hair out of there so I don't have this strong line here. I want that to be quite broken. Okay, so if you come around here, I'll detail this, that the hair's drying nicely, and by putting the spritz in first, it does swell the hair out a little bit so we get a little bit of volume as we're drying as well. That's going to come through more when we add the heat, but what it does is it allows me to see the hair and how it's sitting. I think it's sitting a little bit bulky there, so what I'm going to do is take a little bit of that weight out. So I'm going to just do a little slice cut through there. So I'm holding the hair halfway down the shaft, and we're just going to slide out some hair, slicing technique. So if I slow that down, I'm just sliding my scissors through, slightly closing them as I go through the hair and following through. I'm not attacking it, I'm sliding it out. And that just takes all that bulk out of there, so I have this nice chewy sort of hair, because I want this to be a bit rock and roll. It's not a classic haircut in any way. We're going to go through the top now, and I'm just a dot to dot. I get that side and take that top off. I'm cutting it very broken though. I'm not really technically doing anything precise at this point, other than my sections are very precise and the rest of it is really loose. So coming back on horizontally, I take a section across the head, probably ear to ear would be a great indicator. Taking that whole section so I can see both sides. I should end up with a bit of a point on top, which is there. And I'm just going to break that up. Really loose. Next section, I do the same thing. I come back onto the previously cut section. This allows me to build length as I work into the front. Clean up the back of that section, and that's my guide for this moment. So that stands straight up at 90 degrees. That comes to that, pulling back to that previously cut section. So my scissors are slightly at an angle. I'm not coming like this, but I don't want to come in and do this. I definitely don't want to put my elbow up and do that, because I might as well just cut it off. By lifting keeping my elbow low and turning my wrist around, I can get a better angle on that. It's like a picket fence, up and down, up and down. So there's technique there, you're not just chopping away, but you've got to keep a looseness about it. So what we'll do now is just bust it up a bit. And why I say bust it up, it's a bit of a slicing technique, but I'm going to be a little bit looser with it, not so methodical as I was through the back. So larger sections. And your hair needs to be just slightly damp for this. You can do it dry as well. You don't want it too wet because you won't see what's coming out. So what I want to do is hold the hair, I bend my fingers slightly so it fans the hair out, and then I just slide through with my scissors, slightly closing them just the same as before, What that does is creates this support hair through here. So what it does is it thins the hair out a little bit and it opens up and gives the hair some texture. So it's got a double purpose. Because if there's too much weight in the top of that hair, it will just flop. Doing now is lifting the hair up. So blow dryer on nice and close to the hair and lifting it up. Using my fingers quite firmly in the hair. I don't want to use too much of a brush on this. I might do some to control the ends, but I really want to get lots of lift there so it stays in that sort of quiff format, which the hair is fine, so it really does react really well with it. But I also want to remain shiny. I've got to sort of look after that as well. So I want it too ruffled so it gets rid of that because there is a lot of shine for blonde hair. You've got to agree with that, it's beautiful. So we'll get cracking with that. We'll get it up nice and big and then we'll add some product to deconstruct it. So I decided to come in with a medium to large round brush, and all I want to do is just control this hair. You can see I've done that section already. It's got a little bit more expensiveness about it, whereas this is a bit grungier. So I think giving it a bit of polish and then we'll break it up afterwards is better, and you'll probably last a lot longer in the blow dry. So you can just see that hair there. It's just got a little bit more finish on it than, say, that hair. So it's just getting a brush in there and just controlling it a little bit more. What I tend to do is dry the hair in different directions as well. So one that way, one straight back. And then that just gives me that texture through the hair. I don't want this to be perfect and all together as one. I want it to be broken. Okay, so here we are with our shape. It's built up beautifully. What I'm going to finish off with is flexible pomade. So great product. It's exactly what it says. It's a pomade feel. It's got a little bit of shine, but it has pliability, and I think that's the thing. It's flexible. So that's what I want with a hairstyle like this. I don't want it to be a wax to weigh it down. I want it to have a bit of flexibility. So when she touches it all day, when Carly's resurrecting it, it keeps giving. It's not just a set thing that you can't touch. I think that's what it should be, because the reality is people touch the hair, they tuck behind their ears. You want a product range that basically can work with that rather than setting it like a helmet. So with this, like every product I bark on about it, it's about getting a little bit of product on every hair. So that's as much as you need. Then what I want to do is just work that through my palms and get it in like a hand cream, yeah? So like that. You can see there's a bit of shine in there. And then what I do is just get my fingertips and I'll run it along the scalp. So I push that side back, I push this side back, just on my fingertips at this point. So what that will do is help me create texture and support at the root. So even if I don't put any more in, you can see what that's done to the hair. I can push that anywhere I want and it stays. So then I'll work it back through to my fingertips, and then the ends get a little bit of love. Not too much. I don't want too much product on there. I just want to flick a little bit through to those ends.
If you come on over here, we could be on the same side.
Kind of like this little tail thing at the back here. If you come around, like it just flips over there. I kind of like how that forms, you know, it's like quiff-like, but it's got a little tail on the end. Kind of cool. Finished result on Carly, we're over the moon. So I'm really happy with this result. It's beautiful. Carly's really happy. She does look rock and roll, which was our promise at the beginning of it. She's got that really covered in spades, but you know, great result, and see you the next episode. Thank you.